Michael and Natasha, The Life and Love of Michael II, the Last of the Romanov Tsars, by Rosemary and Donald Crawford. The book is subtitled The Life and Love of Michael II, the Last of the Romanov Tsars. Introduction. The woman who was lying in one of the crowded wards of the Laennec, a busy Paris charity hospital in the Rue de Sèvres, was just another dying patient. And if the card at the end of her bed bore the name Princess Brasova, it meant little enough to the nurses bustling around her in this January of 1952. Many of the unfortunates who came to the hospital to die protested their dignity and even their once-upon-a-time grandeur. To the young nurses, the woman was just one more of those sad Russian émigrés with whom Paris had been all too familiar in the years since 1918. Once they had money, jewels, and position. More importantly, they had hope. Now that was all a very long time ago, a vanished age, and the world had moved on. There was little enough anyone could do for the woman anyway, save perhaps to ease the pain of the cancer, which had taken the life from her face and arms long before it would take the life from her body. Her last address had been an attic at 11 Rue Monsieur, only a few streets away from the hospital in the 7th arrondissement on the left bank. But when she had become ill and unable any longer to look after herself, the fellow émigré who had let her live in the tiny box-room had brusquely ordered her to leave. But for the hospital she would have had nowhere to go. She was 71, and death would be a mercy. She died alone, and it seemed forgotten, for when they came to make out her death certificate, there was nothing in her pathetic effects to support her claim that she was a princess. Merely a faded Russian birth certificate naming her as plain Natalie Sheremetemskaya. A clerk copied that out, stamped the certificate, and duly filed it away. But the woman who said she was a princess would not be forgotten entirely, for as word spread among the dwindling band of Russian émigrés in Paris that the Princess Brasova had died, they did what they could to give her burial the dignity denied her death. They took her to Passy, to lie in the same grave where, 20 years earlier, they had buried her son George, tragically killed on the eve of his 21st birthday in a sports car being driven by a fellow student. They also buried her by chance near the grave of Maurice Paléologue, sometime French ambassador to Russia, and the man who had become one of her most ardent admirers. Indeed, it was Paléologue who, upon seeing her for the first time, had been so overwhelmed by her looks and grace that he went home and wrote about her in his diary, giving a portrait of a young woman who was a delight to watch, her pure and aristocratic face is charmingly modelled.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?